connect your ATOD unit to each of the health skills outlined in our national standards. So I'm a huge advocate for this approach to skills-based health education. I feel like it is incredibly authentic and impactful when we can take a health topic like ATOD and then we can create learning experiences or bring each of the other skills into the topic so students can see what it really looks like in their life to be able to manage this aspect of their well-being. Starting with standard number 1, building and applying functional knowledge. So for this skill, I'm just going to give a few examples of functional knowledge that I think is really vital for students to know. So the first one is, what does it mean to have a relationship with a substance, with ATOD? And I dive more into that in this video, so we don't need to go into it here. Second piece of functional knowledge is exploring, why do people use substances? What is the motivation behind? And I also have a video for that. You can click here, and that just dives into 4 different reasons why people choose to use different substances and the health needs that are being met within those different motivations. The third thing, if you're going to use a substance, what are the safety precautions? And we have the data to know which substances students are using, so we can have real conversations like, hey, if you're going to drink alcohol, these are the things that you need to do to make sure that you're doing it safely. So the fourth and fifth is really red flags. What are the red flags to look out for in terms of substance use? And then connected to those red flags, where are the resources, who are the resources that can help you navigate? So those are some of the things that I recommend focusing on in terms of the functional, vital knowledge that students need to know in terms of ATOD. So standard number 2 is analyzing influences. And this is one you're probably already making connections in your ATOD unit. And just kind of another maybe thing to think about that I think is really powerful is to look at the cultural perceptions that exist around us in terms of substances, in terms of ATOD. And I have a video that talks about that I think it could be really a beneficial and an enlightening and an interesting conversation with students, and maybe a little bit of a different look to the analyzing influence skill when it comes to ATOD. All right, that third standard is all about accessing resources, and I kind of think about it in 2. We got accessing information and we have accessing services. So both of these are probably things that you've already integrated into your ATOD unit. So you can check out the Prove It skill cues. I'll link to it. If there's a video, I'll link to it here. I'll link to it in the bio or in the description. And basically, I think an interesting way to use this would be to have students seek out information about a specific substance, but solely through whatever channel they use as their primary information tool, whether that be TikTok or whether that be YouTube, whatever it is. So I think this would be an interesting experience, and one where hopefully students are engaged with it, because you're really letting them guide it. You're giving them the skill cues, but you're letting them really guide like where they're getting information from. So you're not saying, hey, don't get information from there. You're not, saying no to certain things. You're saying, hey, this is what you're using, but let's add another skill to it so that you can use it in a way that's going to really enrich your life. And then in terms of the accessing services, we have the ACT, the ACT, ACT, skill cues, and I really think it's super valuable if students are actually truly accessing the resources. So if we are talking about ATOD, have them actually seek out ATOD related services and go through the motions. This would take a little bit of prep and working with different organizations so they know that this is a trial run, but I think it's so empowering for students to go through the process, access, it's building their confidence, their skills, so they're able to truly use the services if they ever needed to. So standard number 4 is communication, and there's so many elements to this that connect to ATOD. And again, I'm sure this is one of those things you're already making lots of connections, but you can use some of the Project Wellness skill cues to help guide your instruction here, whether it be having students really define what their boundaries are and setting those up and knowing what they're going to do if a boundary is crossed and how they're going to respond, or respecting other people's boundaries. Also something like refusal skills. Now, I could do a whole video on refusal skills because I think we like to teach refusal skills that no one actually uses. So we got to get creative with that. We got to come up with really authentic ways that, like, hey, if you're in a situation where there's something there that you don't want to do, what are you actually going to do? Because you're probably not just going to say no, right? We don't do that as adults. We rarely just say no. Or maybe it's some conflict resolution, if we're in a point where someone has crossed a boundary or someone is not respecting when you're saying no or making it very clear you don't want to do something. So there's so many ways to bring communication in. Standard number 5 is all about decision making. And I am all about authentic experiences when it comes to decision making, which is why I'm totally out on the DECIDE model. I know it's in some project school and stuff, but it's in the process of being removed and being replaced with more authentic decision making frameworks and models. And so when it comes to decision making and ATOD, right? Those are so deeply connected, right? And I think at the core of it is really understanding what does it mean to have a relationship, and using a tool like the ARAT, which is the ATOD relationship assessment tool. I have a video on it here. Using a tool like this to help students be able to reflect either before or after they have made decisions, and to really understand, hey, what is this decision doing to my well-being? How is it impacting me? Connected to that, also bringing in a tool like the BEST model, which you can click that here or in the description, bringing in a tool like the BEST model so students can really build that self-awareness and be like, oh, okay, if I make this ATOD related decision, it's going to impact this element of my well-being. And that can all just, what I love about that is it's about what's right for them. It's about self-reflection and students really understanding, hey, what's going on in my life and how is this impacting like the dreams I have for myself, the goals I have for myself, the ideals I have for myself, rather than us saying, hey, do this or don't do that. Because at the end of the day, really strong decision makers have a high level of self-awareness, and they're able to really understand what they want and then to make embodied decisions. So we need to give students a framework to be able to do that, and I think the ARAT is an excellent way to do that. Now, our 6th standard is all about goals, and I think an interesting way to bring in goals and goal setting could be if we look at if we kind of go back to a video I talked about earlier about the different reasons and the different health needs that people are trying to meet when they engage with substances. So essentially, the idea is to have them create goals that are connected to how they can manage different areas of their life that aren't necessarily related to substances. Now, most likely, this is more of a thought experience. So maybe you could take a character from a show or a book or something, or you can make up a character and have students write a goal that's connected to positive coping mechanisms or positive habits that are then helping them meet their different health needs that aren't substances. Now, standard number 7, I find interesting because in my mind, we have self-management and all of the other skills are the pillars that allow someone to manage their well-being. So, of course, we have the pause, reflect, and act skill cues, and students can do that, and they could use, for that pause, reflect, and act, they can use something like the ARAT as a way to be able to manage their relationship with ATOD, with whatever substance is in their life. And then that last standard is standard number 8. It's all about advocacy. So we can have students, self-advocate for their boundaries in terms of refusal skills, self-advocate in terms of seeking help if they need, or they can also work to advocate for others. So possibly students make some sort of a campaign at school that's directly targeted to a substance issue that's happening at school, and it's really authentic and connected to what's going on in their life. Again, not what's going on in our life, but what's going on in their life. Or maybe they advocate at a more of a macro level, and they're writing a petition to a community, to something in the community because of a substance use issue or something like that. So there's so many different ways that you can bring that in. I just always think, have it come back to that idea of, are we helping students nurture an enriching relationship with these substances? Are we teaching them? Are we giving them a way to really navigate in an authentic way? And are we equipping them with the skills to do that? So if you are looking for some resources that take this multi-dimensional approach in terms of the health skills and ATOD, check out Project School Wellness's ATOD curriculum, and be sure to like and subscribe to this video and follow along and share it with your friends so we can just continue to build our health education community. And I will see you in the next video.